This whole journey started when I took my exhaust manifold off because I had a leak. And I found that the 13C that I'd had on there for a few years, just a junkyard unit, had a bunch of play. So I knew that was going to be an issue sooner than later. So I went ahead and found a 15G turbo that's off a 1994 to 5 Volvo 850 turbo, and it has a conical flange. So if I clock this correctly, it will just bolt right up to what I had already and just be a fairly easy swap. The 15G should spool up a little faster, and it's just supposedly a little bit better turbo, so it will be an upgrade, and most importantly, it's not broken. So this is how I went about doing that. Step one, I'm just going to take everything off the turbo and clean it up a little bit. Then I'll bring it back to the bench and show y'all how I'm going to clock it for rear wheel drive. So what the reclocking does is it rotates each piece. You have your cold side and your hot side, and then the turbo cartridge in the middle. You can see on my 13C, the oil drain is facing down. And then the turbo cold side is facing kind of up at this angle. Now I've got the hot sides in the same orientation, the way they're going to be bolted up. You can see on this front wheel drive one, my oil drain is pointing up, my turbo is pointing down, so none of that's right. So basically all I got to do is take off this clamp, then there is a snap ring in here I got to take off, and I can rotate this cold side up to the correct angle, rotate this center cartridge down to the correct angle, and I can just make it about like what I have here. Since I have the 13C all together, I can just copy that. Then all I gotta do is move my little fittings for the coolant in and out, oil in and oil drain. That makes this a lot easier since I've already had those as stainless braided hoses, because it's not hard lines. It's not going to have to be super exact. It just needs to be pretty much close, and all this is going to work. So let me start getting this apart. Okay, I'm going to try to get these little locating pins out. There's one on the hot side and there's one on the cold side. And you got to remove those pins so that I can clock everything. Next thing I gotta do is get these two studs out and then drill the holes out to match the other two holes. And that way it will bolt right up to my 90 plus 940 turbo exhaust manifold. These should just come right out. Okay, I've got my 13C sitting up here so I can look at the clocking of it and just make it the same for my 15G. So now I just started to put everything back together. Okay, I struggled for a while with some little snap ring pliers like this. I got it off with this. You can't get it back on with that. You want to put the cold side on first, I do believe. And this snap ring is beveled. So you make sure you put that beveled side up. You want to get you some big, good honking. These are 12 inchers. And it makes really quick work of this. I made a little mark to where it needs to be. Once I had it all together, lined up, I kind of just grabbed a little scratch right there that lines up with the oil feed. You want to be careful with these because that, there we go. That snap ring holds a lot of energy when you have it pinched in like that. Okay, so now I've got the cold side on. Now I'm going to go back and put my hot side on. I scribed a little mark on this too somewhere, I believe. I believe it's something like that. Double check it. Looking pretty good. There's probably some better ways to do this, honestly. If you were using all your stock hard lines, then I would probably fit it on the car. Then you make your lines, your marks there. Then take it back off and then put it together on the bench like this. Yeah, I'm really liking it. That looks pretty good. So once you have the turbo clocked correctly and all put together, it's time to make the wastegate bracket. I just have a bunch of old junk laying around, so I used a bracket from an AC compressor. I just drilled it, bolted it to the wastegate. The other side bolts right where the old wastegate bolted, and it all just hooked right up and seemed to work fine. I know that Yoshi Fab makes one that you can buy that's just all good to go, and I may end up doing that, but for now this works, and I was wanting to get it on the car. Just burning off all the oil from hooking it back up. It seems pretty good. I'm gonna drive it to work.